If you've stumbled across SquareForge and you're wondering what it's all about, or if you've just purchased the Squarespace Template Builder and wondering what the next steps are, this is the video for you. We start here. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you through an example of how the Forge will look when it's been set up in your own account and how you can get started. I'll also show how you can get the most out of it for free by just browsing through squareforge.net and looking at the examples. The great news is I'm creating a huge range of tutorials showing how you can build these layouts from scratch. So I think we'll just jump over to SquareForge and take a quick look. I'm on the homepage for squareforge.net at the moment, and as I scroll through, we see all of the benefits and we can see some of the information in terms of how it works, how you can purchase it, and also a wide range of FAQs. I'd recommend you start there just to make sure it covers all the bases you need. If there's a question I haven't answered that you feel is really important, let me know in the comments and I will get back to you and add them to the FAQs as soon as possible. Here's just a slideshow showing some of the designs that we can now add to our Squarespace site using SquareForge. This is a platform that's built into the Squarespace system. You don't need any additional software to get it up and running. And the way it works is you purchase it. I will set up a duplicate version of the site from the master option that I'll be showing in just a moment. And from that point, you can start manipulating the designs, saving them as favorites, adding them into pages. And instead of working with a flat template where everything is rigid and you are fitting your content to the template, here you can mix and match any structure you want and change the color, the format, and even tweak the structure as and when you need it. So there's a huge amount of versatility, hence why we built it for our own team at Pixelhaze Studio. And so let's have a look at some of the designs in SquareForge. So if you want to use this for free, go nuts. Here's an option, for example, where you can use a card hero unit, and I've created tutorials showing how to create that background block effect behind the text. That's just a simple button, and then there's a background image that currently is a grey block, but we can replace that for any image that we want. Again, this isn't a structure that's built into Squarespace as one of the options we can choose. So historically, I'd have to build that from the ground up every single time. And as we scroll down, some are going to be more straightforward, like the one we've just seen, or some will be more detailed, like this one, which is a Polaroid style hero unit. We can put an image in here, but also we could put a different photo in the background or texture or pattern to make that really stand out. This uses a shape for a border sitting above the header. Again, we can build all this from the ground up using individual components, but the idea of the Forge is there's over 250 of these structures for all different types of content ready for you to mix and match. And I also use this with clients in the room as well, where we will go through using this as a toolkit and pulling out some structures and styles that the client really likes. Do they like rounded corners? Well, we can try these with rounded options. Do they want an underline effect? So that adds it in as well. So what we find is that we're not constrained by these. We can restructure and reposition every single element within these designs. However, it may give ourselves, our design team, or our clients ideas about what we can do within the Squarespace platform. It's as much a showcase as anything else. So here, just a heading text block, a paragraph text block, then a 1 pixel line, which is the default in Squarespace when we use the line tool. And then underneath that, then we've got two different button styles. We've got a primary button style with a solid block, and we've got a tertiary button style, which has just the underline option. Using the two together gives it a novel individual effect. This one, for example, uses frames, which allows us to create shapes to add photos or images into. So again, we can bring two images into our hero section. This could work really well if you've taken portrait photos off a camera phone and they won't transfer well across to a landscape layout or a letterbox layout like this full background. So instead we can drop them into these shapes and then go with a pattern, texture, or just solid color background for our hero. So those are just heroes. And as we go through to different content types, we've got classic content blocks. If we wanted an overlap effect, whether this was just a photo or solid color, we can do that. We've again got our tertiary button style to make it a little bit different, centrally aligned content, and everything's been spaced out by professional designers, predominantly myself, meaning that you've got really clear, effective white space to make the content really jump out. A more advanced option here, we've got an image offset to the right and then 3 icons or smaller images to the left for each bullet point that we're outlining in this content area. And as we can see here, this design would work together. The way we've got that paper cut-in effect, so it looks like a sheet of paper on a background, that could work for both of them. Or at this stage, we could just get rid of that background and then just have this to continue to flow from the section above. The choice is completely up to you. And 2 column layouts already pre-built. Now, there are a lot of these options in Squarespace, but they're quite limited and they haven't really changed a great deal since the very early days of 7.1. By having these extra layouts on top, just makes it really easy to work with. So those are just some of the examples that we can look at. I'm going to switch across to our Master Forge layout, and this is exactly what you would get, a replication of this site. So instead of the homepage on SquareForge promoting the product, the homepage on the master template is a tutorial page showing you how to get the most out of it, step-by-step guides for video tutorials that I've created showing exactly how to use Forge for the first time. So I'm not going to run through that now, but I will show you it from the admin perspective. And if you're not new to Squarespace, you're going to find this really easy. If you are new to Squarespace, then I've got those guides specifically for you. As we scroll down on the left-hand side here, we've got nothing on the main menu. I've deliberately kept that clear at the moment, meaning that you can add your own pages to the main menu. For example, you can add a blank page, and let's create a home page there. And from this point now, we can look at some heroes. So let's go for some rounded options. I'm not going to be editing these directly. What I am going to do is find something that I like. I think I'm going to go with this as quite a wordy, text-heavy hero, and I'm going to save that as a favorite. I think that's everything I want from that particular set of designs. And then let's go for short content area to start with. Yeah, let's go for this one here. Save that as a favorite. Jump back out, and we'll go for one longer content area. No, maybe Content Classic. And I'll grab this section here as well. So we've got 3 sections now that we've saved as favorites. These have all been tested on mobile, which means that we can now just bring them into our new homepage. When we look at it, it just starts out from scratch, an empty structure. So we can go in here now and go to Saved Sections. And here we are. So the first structure we can put in. Okay, I want actually a hero above that, so we're going to put that in first. And then finally, we're going to add in our signposting section. Okay, for this, we don't necessarily want an image in that place in this example, so this is where we can start manipulating and editing it exactly as we want. Likewise, I might want that section to flow into this one. So if I edit this section, go to colors, and I'm going to go for lightest to get a white background. At this point, I could mimic this shape effect behind the text. So like when we're working with the default Squarespace, we can do everything we can there. So I can add a shape, and I'm going to bring that shape behind all the content and make it the same width as the section above. Then I'm going to send it to the back. From this point now, I can edit the section, and I'm going to remove the fill screen option to make it nice and compact. And I'm using Shift and Select to select multiple items just to bring a bit more breathing space into that area. In fact, I don't think I need to do that. It was working quite well. So I'm just going to move it back up to where it was. Bear in mind that we now have a shape there, so if I want to make that area more compact, I just need to bring it up higher like that. They don't necessarily need to be on different sections, but as a demo, that just shows you how we can get that design to flow from section to section. And I probably want to do a little bit more work. I'm not sure about this cutout effect with square corners at the moment because it doesn't really tie in with this rounded effect here at the top. So this is where I can go to this shape, edit our shape, and then maybe put a 50 pixel rounded corners on that shape. Maybe I'll go more, go for 80. So now we're mirroring that shape there. But I don't want to stop there because an image with square edges won't really click with this. So let's go to design option again and put some rounded corners on that. Now that text area is cutting off at the bottom, we can see that this shape is here. So normally I would jump in and fix that. And instead of putting 80 around every corner, I'm going to make the bottom, left and right completely square. So that's just one example of how we can take existing layouts and customize them using SquareForge to really rapid prototype website building with the platform. The one thing I was going to wrap up with finally is we've got this section at the bottom, which is all the footers on our site. As we can see, there's a lot of different designs. The way I would tackle this when ready is just go through. Once we know the overall structure of our site, and I think this footer could work really well, we just go through and delete all of the others and the spaces and leave with just the one footer. And the way we do that is if we go to the footer page that I've already created here, which only has footers, we can just go through and delete the ones we don't want, leaving the final one that we do. We can have multiple sections in our footers in Squarespace, so if you wanted to combine two of these together or build your own, no problem whatsoever. I hope you found this all helpful. It's quite a bit to take on, especially if you're new to Squarespace, so I'd strongly recommend checking out our SquareForge channel because we've got tutorials on just about everything, and if I haven't built it yet, I can guarantee it's in the pipeline. We're really excited to share SquareForge with you. I'd love to hear what your comments are. Have you tried using the platform, or have you been over to squareforge.net and got some inspiration from the layouts on there? There are two ways to buy SquareForge: an outright one-off fee to keep your version, but if you want to keep your SquareForge up to date, we are bundling it in with our community, and that will be launching in school in the summer of 2024. And again, there's more information in the description. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.